It looks like it.
Okay, the Talmud Nami, the Shilton Aloi. The Talmud also, you asked about it. I feel Rishonim have the Eastern Talmud. Even the Rishonim had the Talmud. The meaning to have Eastern Hilchasa, the Greece and Lahon. They say that they had sukkahs which they were learning. It says that Ben Zakkai would check with Uktzei Tehenim which way the twigs on the fig tree on the which a murder were pointing to indicate whether the Adam knew that or not. It brings on here that in the footnote here, but Gemara le'ina ma'isa b'lik sejimim alpha raf lamin also Gemara el tamid yeshne rabahu. When Rabbi Ben Zakkai, when he said this, he was young. He was a student sitting in front of his Rebbe. Farmer Milso Mistabu Taima. He said something, and they liked what he said, and Kavua Mishmei, and they put in his name in the Mishnah. So it must have been that they had a specific, even though this is earlier than Rebbe, they had a specific text they called the Mishnah. There's a Mishnah called Talmud Nami Alem. So they had a Mishnah, they also had Talmud. The first Talmud. The current Mishnah is Smachin al Nismach Salem, and Kalim Chamurin, Zer Shabbos and Joshua Acheres Van Talmud. They must have had the background material, which was the principles behind the Mishnah. Okay, in the text in the printed version doesn't add very much to that. But it says, and that's what you're going to see in the next part, next paragraph. Even though not every yeshiva learned the same way, in the same language, but the rationale was evidently well known across the different place of learning. And each and every Rebbe in his yeshiva taught the students different amalgamations of the Mishnayos and the Talmud, each according to the way his Rebbe taught him. And the halachos and the rationales behind them were equal. It was similar, I guess. Even though the language of their versions was different. And these are the current, and are the roots of these halachas. In other words, this is the Talmud behind the specified Mishnah. And even though the Mishnah was different in each, as we said, each of the yeshiva, but there was a specified Talmud for it, which is the Kalin, Chamurin, Zer Shabbos, Upanim Shem Midrashos, and the various different aspects of Midrashos. And an example of them is Shalosh Midos Sheyar Rabbi Shmuel Darish. Those 13 midos are a good example of, which is rights, of course, of the tools which they use in order to reach the Mishnayos in earlier generations. The other tools they use, Gaon, Samikra, changing around the order of the words in the psukim, Yitzar Mikra, superfluous words in psukim, Vribuyim Miyutin, inclusions and exclusions, the text, he says, it's not referring to the ribu in the printed text. It's not referring to the ribu and mute, which is machlokes between Rabbi Shlomo and Rabbi Akiva, whether according to Rabbi Shlomo we darshan the entire Torah as klal uprat, and according to Rabbi Akiva darshan the entire Torah as ribu and mute, and that is a systematic machlokes as to how to approach the inclusions and exclusions, whether they're generalities, or really if it's inclusions and exclusions or generalities and specifications. That's a long discussion, but he's in the printed note he says referring to specific words like gam, es, af, kol, and rak, min, im. So the first two words were ribuyim, and the other words are mutim. Mm-hmm. It's a different issue than the issue of the machlokes Rabbi Shlomo Rabbi Akiva. And Midrisha Smuchin, the juxtapositions of various things, the hekish and inference from some sort of connection. Shakespeare and Malamdin, and the two Sukkim teachers the same principle we can derive from them. And we learn the principles of the preceding parsha from the next parsha. And that when you extract something, you have to extract going to the minimum novelty, not more than that. Drishas Mikra, and according to those who held this, not all of these tools were not necessarily used by everybody, but these are various tools which floating around the various Batei Medrash. He's saying prior to the formal composition of Mishnayos and certainly the composition of Gemara subsequently. So Drishas Mikra, you know, that Rabbi Shimon's approach was, as opposed to other Tannaic, to expound on the reason for the law. Regarding receiving darshan, to take letters off one part of a word and add them to another part of a word, another part of the word or to another word altogether. Yeshem Mikra, and the question whether we go by how we read, like the word sukkos, Yeshem Masoros, or how we'd spell sukkas, right? In terms of sukkah. Nemar kan v'nemar lahalon. It says this here. It says something similar later on. It's really a form of hekish, I think. Expounding a verse to what it says prior to that idea, but not prior to that idea. That the pasuk always has a simple meaning. There's no chronological order in the Torah. Torah speaks like people speak. In other words, the language. You know, when you have a double language, according to some schools of thought, you darshan double language. It's Rabbi Akiva. Rabbi Shmuel no, found a double language like himol or something like that. So that's just the way people speak. Davashnem bezev enu in your lote in the chavero. Something which is stated in a place where it has no purpose and therefore must be coming to teach us something else. In the footnotes here, that just gives references, and footnotes in the text. The printed text gives a lot of examples, but unless you feel that we have to go through a specific example, what?
No, I think we can just keep going.
Okay. Where you can see a similar issue and to extrapolate that. With the Chaveros, and we just say here, and this is true about, I'm not sure what the difference between those two things are, but I guess the different languages used. Hold on a second. Yes? Yeah, by the middle of doing a share. So. No, I need my phone. Sorry. Parsha which is stated and repeated was repeated because of new idea. Domina mina, to extrapolate from these are actually two conflicting ideas. Domina mina, domina buki basra. Do I learn all parameters of some a derived halacha from the original halacha, or only certain parameters and other parameters are local to the derived halacha? And that we know don't extrapolate more than, and when we make a kavachomer, we don't make the extrapolated halacha more severe than the original halacha. And many other Talmudic principles. When the earlier generations say that halachas kol chad v'chad each one ki the lon ilain milay, each one as they learned these words. In other words, the Mishnah, their version of the Mishnayos, having Talmud Dilon, the Gulei Talmud, their Talmud was to reveal the reasons for the Torah. Talmud Torah not meaning here esoteric reasons, but all the types of reasons which we enumerated above. Now, like it says in
bottom two lines.
Okay, come here. Thank you. Rabbi Meir had a certain Talmud, Sumchus Shmo, his name was Sumchus. Omer al Kol Davar Davar Shel Tuma, he would say in each everything which is Tomei, Arbim Shmona Tamei Tuma, 48 reasons why it should be Tomei. And the Kol Davar Davar Shatara, Arbim Shmona Tamei to Tara. In other words, he could use these tools, which we just referenced, in order to give various different reasons for each thing to be Tomei and Tar. So obviously, in different Batei Medrash, you had different Batei Medrash, you had a different perspectives. Sumchus was very, very brilliant, and he was able to be eclectic and make use of multiple perspectives. There also was a different aspect of their Talmud, to extrapolate the various different novel ideas, branches of the ideas, derivatives of the ideas, what they were, laws were. What are the facets in which they're similar? And how you correlate a branch to its place of origin. And how we know they had Talmud. So I thought he was proving before for Rabbi Zakkai that they had Talmud, but I guess this is more of an elaboration of that point. So in the printed text it says, they already mentioned concept of Talmud, which the original Chachamim had. Till now he only inferred it. Now he brings to the explicit sources. Okay. The Rabbi Yochanan Zakar Rud Ad Abayed the Bay the Rava of a garment. It says about Rabbi Yochanan Zakkai, more in Sukkah, elsewhere also, says that he learned Havayas by Abaye Rava. He learned the pathways of Abaye Rava. So of course it sounds anachronistic because there was no Abaye Rava until many generations after Rabbi Yochanan Zakkai. But the idea is that they had Talmud. In other words, even though they're mentioned in the Mishnayos in the very terse format which the Mishnayos were compiled, but they also had Talmud, and Rabbi Yochanan Zakkai was conversant with that way of learning. Utznan, and we learned Rabbi Yehuda Omer. Yehuda says, "Have a zohar b'Talmud, shishigas Talmud ol ezadam." Be careful with Talmud, because if you make a mistake in Talmud, in the understanding of the logic of the different halachas, so then that is very bad. It's like a deliberate error. So you have to be very careful. So evidently this is a proof that they had Talmud, because Rabbi Yehuda's mentioned concept of Talmud. If he didn't have Talmud, what is he talking about? The Tannaic that's actually that was a mission of us. This is a somebody learned Mikra, only Chumash, Tanakh, Midah Sheina Midah is a measure which is not a measure. And obviously, in terms of halacha. Learning Mikra is a very good thing, but in terms of deriving halacha, you can't derive halacha from Torah B'Ksav, right? But Mishnah, you learn Mishnah, okay, that's Midah, showing the schar, it's a Midah, and actually for which you get rewarded, and it's a positive thing. But Talmud, Ein L'cha Midah G'dola Mizu. So by Talmud, there's no greater Midah than that. In other words, again, at the time of Mishnah, at the time of Tannaic, we also had a concept of Talmud. And this concept of Talmud was the methodology of applying all the principles we had before. Besides the talking Rebbe now after Rebbe put into place his halachas and his mishnayos, there was a Talmud claim after that. Unfortunately, Duke the Masnisin, which they would explain, elaborate on the inferences of Mishnah. And they would use the Pratu Klal and all the other types of mitos, which we were speaking about previously. I think that's what he means by that. No, he's saying it's the way he's doing it is that they use these tools to extrapolate from the Mishnah. So there's a practical Mishnah, but Mishnah's Rebbe Kol, Bena Kol es Hakol. Remember Erevin Chavtes Amrav Ein Lemedim Min Haklolos Avil Makom Shneimar Bo Chutz. You don't learn from the general principles. Even says exceptions. Sometimes it doesn't say Lashon Kol v'nir Kiprate Be'ena El Klole. It looks like it's a specific, it's a generality. So this actually, you find in my unscientific opinion, more in the Yerushalmi than the Bavli, but you find the Bavli as well, that we darshan the Mishnayos. Because he's saying that, and this is something what's interesting, what Solanter said. He said that for Chazal, Torah Shebiksav is Torah Shebiksav, and Torah Shebal Peh was Mishnayos. For us, our Torah Shebiksav, again, this is in terms of halacha. Our Torah Shebiksav is the Mishnayos. We don't actually reach back to the Mishnah, to the Tanakh. We don't make drushes anymore, and we don't fully understand drushes. There are some achrayim, and certainly more rishonim, who do dabble in drushes, but it's very rare. And we just accept drushes as axiomatic. So our Torah Shebiksav for learning is the Mishnah, and our Torah Shebal Peh is the Gemara. So again, you find that Amoraim will darshan the Mishnah. They had principles with which they expound the Mishnah. This is giving as an example. They find pratim and klolim in the Mishnah. The Tannaic midrashi. He says Shamishnah Omer Shneimar. The Mishnah says Shneimar Yeshon L'Daktek Heichi Doresh LaMichro. In that case, we do have the right, because quoting the pasuk, to see and understand how the drasha is manifesting. Mm-hmm. So the Talmud. It says that you should run to the mission more than the Talmud. Mean Allah, we say about this. This is in itself difficult. He said there's no greater meter than Talmud. But Marta, heavy rats the Mishnah, yes, the Talmud. Then he said, go run to the Mishnah more than the Talmud. Right. So the which one is it? So the footnote here, he says that this is I don't know, the footnote, never mind, it's not important. Rabbi Eliezer said, "Be made Rabbi Nishres Mishnah Zu." So in days of Rabbi, this Mishnah was learned, but Talmud and Chamidah Gdolim Zu. That was they endorsed their suit of Talmud. And everybody forsook the Mishnayos and they ran after the Talmud. So, which is something which you find, would be akin to today saying, "Oh, everybody's learning Achronim, nobody's learning Rishonim." So, which would be a critique of how the system is working. So then, as a course correction, Rosh Hashiva got up and say, "Okay, time to stop learning Achronim. It's time to start learning Rishonim." So this is a course correction which Rebbe made. Chazar Darshlu Rebbe heavy rats the Mishnah Yetz in the Talmud. So Rebbe said, "Okay, this is gone too far. We need to revert, because you can't just expound and extrapolate and involve pilpul. You have to go back to the source and deal with the Mishnah directly." My Doresh, what did Rebbe darshan in order to make this course correction? So he darshan. What he darshan initially, when he said the Talmud is greater. Kedarsh Rabbi Yehuda Bar Eloi had. Oh, is that true? Yeah, as he says here. It's also in the printed text. Kedarsh Rabbi Yehuda Bar Eloi Agela Mi Pishon Beis Yaakov Chatosam. I tell my nation their crime and the house of Yaakov their sin. Agela Mi Pishon El Chomish Shafil Shkogos Nasalim Gizdoinus. Tell these the Muhammad that even inadvertent mistakes are said deliberate. This man Shafil's donuts, nasos, loyim, kishkos, even deliberate sins are made for them, like inadvertent sins. Okay, by 9, right? You don't marry Zarba Talmud Shir Shigas Talmud Ola Zadom. So I like an elaboration of that a bit. It says here. Heavy Zarba Talmud, Bigmara Shi Terutz Tamei Mishnais, or Intishma Davar Mishnah Rabchai Zel Shol Tamav and Mishnah. Be careful, meticulous in knowing the reasons of the Mishnayos, or who said it. Shigas Talmud. Im Shagisa Bara B'Shigas Talmudecha, made a mistake in the paskening your Talmud. So inadvertent, so Yadata Tama Mishnah started about Tam Acher. You know the reason the Mishnah gave a wrong reason for it. Tochami Kakti Misala Dina Rosh and therefore you imagined or made an inference of halacha which came Lamate Manish Lagadatz and then appropriately. Shantak Moshe says, it's not like you thought. She adopted Tam Mishnah, but to know properly the reason Mishnah Lodi Mishnah you not have inferred from it to this episode which came to end. Amazing. You're punished like you're deliberate. This is a deliberate mistake on your part. Shalosh out the time Mirabecha. Oh, that is from Rashi. Okay, so so even though for the Amoretz, it's not their fault, but for you, it's your fault that were not careful in learning the Darchei Limud. Okay, so that was the initial drasha, and then Rabbi saw everybody was talking about Darchei Limud, which were of the Talmud type, where and he said, okay, now we have to go back to basics. But the Talmud Talmud is the chachma of the earlier generations. This is
the late Tannaic, right? So
late Tannaic, right? Late Tannaic, Mishnah Torah Rabbosh Amru, the Rebbe that we say is considered to be a Rebbe Muvak. Lo Rabbosh Nimdo Mishnah. Not Rebbe taught you the Mishnayos. Lo Rabbosh Mikra nor taught you Tanakh. Rabbosh Nimdo Talmud. Bikatai Rabbosh Nimdo Chachma. Some in other versions Rabbosh Nimdo Chachma. The Tarvayu Chat Time they both mean the same thing. Chachma and Talmud. The time Rabbosh Amru Lo Rabbosh Lo Mikrav Lo Rabbosh Lo Limdo Mishnah El Rabbosh Nimdo Talmud. Divrei Rabbi Meir. That's Meir's statement. Rabbi Yehuda Omer Kosher Chachmasei Menu. Anybody who from which you got majority of your learning. That's the doesn't really explain here, but I think that I'm not sure he's Rabbi Meir's, but he was arguing. Maybe Rabbi Meir's means that he taught him how to learn, and he said he actually taught him most of his body of knowledge. He said, I feel even they didn't illuminate his eyes in one, except for one Mishnah, which means that he taught him the time of one Mishnah, Zerabo. Rava, Gaon Rav Sherira, like Rav Sherira, the Azman Zuma Listera, who taught the Rava, the Zuma Listera, which is actually a type of ladle. Do you want to go on? You want to stop here for today?
Sure, we'd stop.
The pair goes on for a while. Okay. I have to remember up to years. Okay, very good. All right, so we're up to page Kufir Gimel and the printed text. Okay, have a good week.
Hang on. Where are we in?
Kufir Gimel at the top.
Oh, at the top. Okay, great. You too. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.